Hi viewers, welcome to another Games Casual Pro Gamer. Today we're doing MRN versus coL, which is, I forgot the names, but they will pop up. No, it's just MRN versus complexity. Yeah, I didn't know what MRN stood for, but they're not going to reveal that in, well, in this video. So I will look it up, and I will, if I can find it, I will put it in the title. So we have a pretty amazing pick there on Evelyn. The rest is pretty standard, although we haven't seen Vayne in quite a while. And on the enemy team, or on the other team, we have pretty much standard picks. So Cho'Gath jungle versus Evelyn jungle. Evelyn should be really good at ganking. Cho'Gath is going to be super good late game, of course. As soon as he has his ultimate, he's going to be a beast. Literally in team fights. But yeah, he's going to be very good, and doing that true damage with his ultimate is going to make for some easy dragons and barons. At least to prevent the steals. And it should, well, also provide some pretty big news in the team fights. Well, as I said, the ultimate is kind of required for him to do that massive amount of damage, but he can still do pretty well even without his ultimate. So there's an invade coming in from the red team, but it is spotted by the well-placed ward there. And yeah, everyone is going to get out of there, except for Malphite, who almost ran through the jungle, almost got caught there, but he's going to run with his minions through the lane now. And they are going to just steal this blue buff. Of course, because of that ward, they knew they should just go for this. But yeah, two guys coming up, and here is the catch on Evelyn, and oh, the first blood, very nicely played. And that is exactly why that ward was there. And the ward wasn't even in the bush. That was very surprising. So normally we see that ward in the bush, and it is obviously to protect your own blue from being invaded, and because there were only two guys there, they had a very easy kill. But very well played from the red team. Obviously, well, tried that a couple of times and practiced that, and it, well, executed very nicely. So yeah, they did get a little bit lucky, because if the blue team had a ward up in that same bush, so in the bush at blue, that would have been a completely different matter. And as you can see, Vayne getting damaged a little bit too heavily. Oh, and then Lulu, oh, the great flash, and she is going to be safe for now. The ignite is going to wear off, and there we go. But she is still up against two here, and the jungler is going to run out. He is probably going to go back to his jungle. He knows that his own blue buff is up. So maybe they're going to, well, maybe they're going to go to that, yeah, I was wondering. No. It is indeed the Cho'Gath jungle. I was wondering about that, but yeah, it has to be. So, oh, Evelyn! Oh, Evelyn failing the red buff. That is huge. Oh my god, yeah, she used her smite already, so she can attempt that again, but it's not going to work the second time either. And that is going to be big, as in very big. Yeah, she's going to have to do some small camps first, and then go back to her red buff, and oh my god, she's going to be so far behind. Especially since Cho'Gath kind of got the mid lane there for a minute or so, while Jarvan was ganking bottom lane. And yeah, she is going to have some help from the support, so that is how they solve it now. Oh man, that was big fail, but at least she got her red buff, although it was, well, quite a significant amount of time later. And as you can see, the Cho'Gath getting some nice ganks off in the meantime. I'm assuming that was Cho'Gath. I don't really recognize him in that skin, but yeah, it has to be. I mean, there's no one else on the map that looks like that. Well, with that kind of a skill model, basically. Anyhow, we are going to have to switch to the lower quality when it starts to lag, which is right now. Holy crap, this site sucks. So this is once again Twitch, and every time I switch to another, first of all, it doesn't load up the entire video, which is sucky at best. And yeah, once I switch to a lower resolution, it just rewinds the entire video to random points, in this case about 12 minutes before this, which is well before the match started. And it just, yeah, it makes that I have to search for the point where I left off, and that is just really sucky. Anyway, we saw the kill there on the Lulu, and then some nice damage done by Vayne, but Vayne was not going to get anything done with that. Wow, and it is quite surprising to see that Jarvan does so well in that mid lane. He's really not having any trouble so far. And of course he did get some ganks from the jungler, but still it is pretty surprising because he really doesn't do that well in the early game, except with that long range, I think that's his Q, the lance thingy. And that is of course very useful, but yeah, other than that he doesn't really have anything. And that's why he's such a good champion in either jungle or top lane. Because in jungle and top lane, nothing happens in that really super early game. And yeah, he normally can get away with the amount of defense that he has. But he's doing really well in that mid lane against the Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix, who has a lot of damage in that early game. And I guess the protection from Jarvan is really keeping him alive and making this a relatively easy lane for him. And yeah, he's doing a good job. So I don't think I've ever seen a Jarvan mid lane in a tournament before. I probably have seen it in some kind of game. But yeah, well, I've seen so many games that I really can't keep up with what I have and haven't seen. I can pretty much say I've seen most of it. But yeah, well, we are doing better now with Evelynn. Evelynn is still jungling quite a lot. She got killed once, but that's about it. Really not hasn't been in other fights. And yeah, well, it's 0-3 here for the Complexity team, and they do pick up a very easy dragon there. No awareness of the blue team, either that or they just couldn't, well, they couldn't do anything about that anyway. I don't think they had the power to do anything about that. So yeah, there's that, and they picked up a very easy dragon. Leading now with about 2k gold, 2.5 even. So yeah, it's a pretty big gold lead for this early in the game. And we will have to see if they can actually carry that into the mid game and late game. But yeah, normally they are very good. Well, teams are at this level are very good at keeping that an advantage like that and carrying it over to the late game. So there is a ward in that bush, so even if Evelynn gets in that bush undetected, it doesn't matter because it is a pink ward. And yeah, they know that she's here, and yeah, that is going to suck because, well, she is spending so much time on this that really, yeah, she's kind of hoping that they can't see her, but yeah, there you see it. The minions started attacking her, so they know there is a pink ward there. And yeah, it sucks to be her, I guess, because that was actually quite a bit of time spent on that. And oh wow, very nice escape. The nice cutoff from Jarvan, cutting off that retreat path. But, well, he still got out of that, but then Jarvan just saying, well, screw this, I'm just going to tower dive you, and I'm just going to kill you. And that worked out pretty well. Jarvan, of course, very tanky, as I said, and can actually do very well in tower range early in the game, because he takes so little damage once, well, once he has everything activated. So all of his buffs, then he can tank some pretty nice tower shots. Anyhow, we are currently just back in bottom lane. Bottom lane seems to be the most significant lane here for our directed camera. we haven't really been in top lane at all. Well, not even unreally, because we haven't been in top lane at all. And yeah, that's quite surprising, because top lane is normally the lane where at least something happens with ganks and such. But so far they have been left all to themselves. And the Rumble is warding up way more than the Malphite is. It's because, well, Rumble is apparently more afraid because, well, or Rumble. Did I say Malphite? No, I don't know. Rumble is a little more afraid because Malphite does have that escape, his ultimate, and that makes that he really doesn't need anything else. He has a flash up and his ultimate, and that makes that he can kind of go from the mid of the lane, so kind of around the river, to his tower in one go. And yes, he does have to expand both of those cooldowns, but it is a pretty safe thing then, and because he has been pushed to his tower all game, it's, well, not all game, but most of the game, it's really not that big of a problem. But as you can see, even though he's been pushed all the game, he's only 10 minions behind, which is still a significant amount, but yeah, well, could have been way worse. The mid lane, Kha'Zix is not really farming too hard, currently about 20 minions behind, and that is significant. On the other hand, the bottom lane, Vayne is farming up way more than Caitlyn is. And here we go, we are going on this Rumble, and there he dies. Nicely done, and this is exactly why you want an invisible jungler. Well, they got a little bit lucky, I guess, because there was a ping ward out, and yeah, well, they just, well, he just skirted around that, or it timed out in time. I don't really know. I don't know if it actually timed out. So yeah, using his minions to deal damage to the tower while picking up the minions behind the tower, it's really a common strategy. And yeah, the minions of course then suicide into the tower, doing maximum damage to that tower. And well, you kind of get all of the minions for free, because, well, not totally free, because you do take damage. But yeah, you do have no chance of losing minions to last hits from your own minions, and that of course is excellent. It's always good to have that, although well, most of the time you can last hit pretty nicely, even without that yeah, that safety that there are no minions there from your own side. Anyhow, we are currently here with Vayne. Vayne is going to take down these minions, no problem. It's 2 shots per minion apparently already. And that is, well, that's kind of one of the thresholds. We have some problem here, and I hope this is not going to last too long, because that would suck balls. I don't know who's having some problem. Well, this guy apparently. I'm just going to pause it here, and we're going to continue when we continue. And we are back. So apparently about a 5-minute pause there, which is exactly what makes it so sucky when you disconnect in a normal game. Because here you can pause for 5 minutes, but in a normal game you would have missed 5 minutes. And yeah, apparently he got logged out or something like that. His client crashed and he had to log back in. And so that took about 5 minutes, and as I said, in a normal game, if you get disconnected for 5 minutes, you're completely lost. Fortunately, we do have a pause in these tournaments, well, otherwise tournaments would be impossible. And that's what we saw in Season 1, because then they didn't have a pause yet, and we saw that many tournaments were lost, or games in tournaments were lost, because of these kind of, well, crappy programming choices. No, actually, yeah, because they just, well, they couldn't pause the game, so there was really nothing to do when someone disconnected. Oh, Malphite getting into trouble here, but he does use his ultimate to get out of there, no problem. Fortunately for him, it's not actually a dash, it is actually more of a flash type situation. And, well, because a dash wouldn't be able to go through terrain, and the ultimate from Jarvan is well, real terrain. It's impossible, yeah, impossible terrain, and yeah, well, there's that. Anyhow, the jungler coming in to take over the lane for a little bit. Picking up all of the minions, which is pretty impressive. Because Evelynn, well, she does have a skill to spam, but still, because it's an AoE skill, it's pretty hard to not damage all the minions at the same time and lose minions to the tower, basically. So, nicely done. The Thresh saving the... I already forgot who it was. I think it was Rumble. But, yeah, well, it doesn't matter. They're going to take out this tower anyway, and that means, yeah, free gold. Free gold. So they took out 2 towers in very rapid succession. That makes it 2 versus 1 in the tower front. And with 4 versus 1 in the kills, we are currently 4k gold ahead with the complexity team. And yeah, that is that's a pretty big deal. And the dragon is going to come up in a few minutes, and that is going to be, I think, the deciding factor already, because we're 15 minutes in. And with this much difference, I think they already won. But, well, we'll see how that next dragon goes. Because if they take that dragon as well for, well, without any repercussions, so without the blue team being able to do anything in return, yeah, the complexity team, or the red team, just completely wins already. And that is pretty early, but, well, going to call it right there. Of course, some things can still happen. You can still lose 3 team fights in a row and fall behind a few thousand gold. But still, if you're this far up, so they're 4k gold up, so they can lose 8 kills to 8 assisted kills for 0, and then they're equal. And if they pick up that dragon, that becomes 10. That's 2 full aces. And of course, if you take a tower, that changes things a little bit. Also, if you take a Baron, that changes things a little bit. But yeah, well, you can see how much that is. And another tower goes down really without any ability to do anything about it. Because, well, they know that many people are coming up. So it's better that they couldn't do anything about it. Because otherwise they would have ran in there and gotten some things, or gotten people killed. So it's a 2 for 0 trade here, but it is going to be a 2 for 1 now. And are they going to be able to do more? Oh, it is actually a 2 for 2 already. I missed one of the kills because, well, it's all big mess. Of course, it's a 2 for 2, so they didn't actually come back, but at least they got something out of it. So they, percentage-wise, they came closer. And that is already excellent, because that means that we at least have the ability to gank people still. And, well, we are now 5k gold behind. Oh, yeah, this is getting a little out of control. So another 1000 gold lost somewhere. The dragon is going to come up in 2 minutes. And, yeah, as I said, that is going to determine the game. Whether or not the complexity team can pick that up without any, well, anything in return for the blue team. And the blue team is therefore going to push the lanes, because they do want to pick up that, for example, middle turret in return for this dragon. They do know that the dragon is going to come up at some point, but they don't really have a ward on it. They don't have a ward on it at all, in fact. And yeah, the ward goes down, so that tells them that there is a pink ward right there. And that makes it even harder to do anything about this dragon, because without any wards and without the ability to, well, to know when it's up, and they don't know when it's up because they didn't see it happen the first time. All that they know is when the red team is grouping up around dragon, and they can't see that currently because they have no wards on the, well, on the region. They do have a ward in the bush here at the bottom of your screen. So that's the only thing they can really tell when someone runs through there. And there may actually be a ward in the dragon pit. I can't really see if that is a ward and if that's in the dragon pit, but, well, it may actually be there. So may have thrown over a ward right there. Yeah, so yeah, it gets cleared out. And it was indeed on the dragon, so they know at least that well, that just got taken out. And oh no, don't lag on me. So yeah, well, the dragon is coming up. 10 seconds left. They know the entire red team is going to group up right there at the dragon. And there is it. There it is. It obviously comes up on the mini map, but Lulu placing another ward. And with the dragon, well, coming up on the mini map, it means that they actually know it's up. And well, with that dragon coming up on their mini map, they know that they need to defend it or take it. But yeah, it is kind of risky because they have no clue what is needed to do this. And well, Rumble in top lane, he's at least visible, so they know that he's not at dragon, but the rest of the team is in mid lane. And well, this Caitlyn isn't really visible yet for them, but there she is. And at this point, yeah, they do have a ward on the dragon, but there is a pink ward up, so the red team can actually take that out. Oh, a very nice engage there, making sure that the one guy that can actually, well, kill the squishy straight off is taken out. And yeah, Kazik's taking a lot of damage, but they are going to stay alive, all of them. And that means that, well, we still have the ability to do this again. And we are going to try this again. Kazik's now at about half health, while he is healing up quite quickly. And once again taking so much damage from the initial, well, engage there. And of course, well, 2 guys go down, 1 on each team. And yeah, that is of course a big win for the blue team. But there we go. We are going to be with the blue team here. Triple kill for Vayne. She might actually pick up more, but no, they cannot tower dive. So even though there were 2 magnificent, well, initiates from Jarvan, they still couldn't make it work. It's a 3-for-2 trade, and well, with those 2 trades, those 2 on the MRN team being Lulu and Evelyn is not nearly as important as picking up Jarvan and Caitlyn. So they do get the dragon, and this changes things. Well, as I said, it would have been decided otherwise, but now they came back about 2k gold. You can see that from the score. They are about 3k gold behind now instead of 5, but it would have been 6 otherwise. And well, at 6k gold, well, at this level, or at this, yeah, at this level, at this stage of the game, it would have been over. But now we still have a game. The complexity team is still, well, pretty far ahead, and the MRN team still needs to do some magnificent work to make this work. And we're going to have to see if they can actually do this, because it is going to be difficult. It is going to be, well, very difficult. We'll see, we'll see. It seems that for now they're all just chilling, just happy to still be alive. No, they're going to farm up a little bit and then engage on the next target when it shows up. Obviously, dragon is a very nice target for the beginning of the game and for the mid game, and that's what we saw here. But in the end game, you really only want to fight over Baron, because as soon as you go for a dragon, then the enemy is going to go for a Baron, and yeah, you're kind of screwed then. The ultimate goes off, using that ultimate to escape from the Jarvan ultimate, and he is going to steal the movement speed, but he is still going to die. Yep, another kill there for our Jarvan, and Jarvan now at 3-1. The Caitlyn also at 3 kills, and wow, the Thresh actually at 2 kills. That is pretty high for support. But yeah, well, he did pick up the kills that others left, I guess, or he just got lucky. I don't know. Well, he did pick up that first kill, I guess, that first blood. That was definitely, well, not so much lucky. That was his ignite picking that up. and there was really no way for other people to pick up that kill at that point. So yeah, he got a little bit lucky there, but well, also because he just did the damage that he could. Seems that Jarvan is having a pretty significant amount of gold stacked up, 1600 gold, and I would say you would be able to afford something off of that. He can actually afford like a BF sword. I don't know if he wants to, but well, he could. And at this point there is no real target on the map, well, other than Baron, but I think it's still a little bit too early for Baron, because well, they can kill it, but they cannot kill it with, well, significant force or good enough force to make sure that the enemy team doesn't pick it up or doesn't gank them and kill all of them. And that is exactly why Baron is always taken very late in these kind of tournament games, because they know that if they try to kill it and they get damaged too much, or they try to kill it and the enemy team shows up in general, they will have to back off and either give the enemy team the Baron or they will get killed. And that of course is not something you want, because if you lose a team fight in the mid game, you are going to lose turrets and probably an inhibitor at this point. It's also the reason why they're pushing all of the lanes, because if they lose one of the fights here, and that ward just timed out, but it did see everyone there. We are going to have to see if that actually is going to make a difference. I don't know wards. Oh, there's the ward. But the ward is a little bit too far forward, meaning that he got tagged up quite heavily. The nice ultimate though from Malphite, and are they going to be able to do it here? Blue team getting 2 kills there and 1 kill back for Cho'Gath. So it's a 2-for-1 for now. And the Thresh is going to get him out of there. Oh, that was so close. That Lulu could have easily died. And wow, nobody's going to stay in. Everyone's just going to recall here. Well, they're going to recall after cleaning up this this mess. But yeah, you definitely don't want to keep fighting if you don't really know if you're going to